My name is Katie Damm, and I'm going to be telling you the story, The Emperor Has No Clothes. Once upon a time, there was a king, also known as an emperor, who loved clothing. He spent all of his time and resources trying on clothing and buying clothing. All of his citizens and staff knew this, and so one day, two citizens came into the palace and decided that they were going to trick the king by selling him fabric that wasn't even there. They made a proposition to the king that they had a wonderful fabric that could only be seen by those who were worthy and not foolish and deserved to see it. The king decided that this was a perfect idea and he must buy it, because if he had it, he could tell which of his staff and citizens weren't worthy. And he, of course, knew he was worthy, so he would be able to see this beautiful outfit. He sent them to work right away and paid them lots of gold to make him his outfit. So he sent them to a special room and didn't bother them for very long. Until about a week later, the king was getting pretty antsy. He really wanted to see what it looked like, but he didn't want to spoil the surprise. And so he thought, and finally decided that he would let his kindest and most wise minister go and visit the weavers to see what they were working on. And so the minister walked into the room where the weavers were working and looked around. He only saw their looms and the weavers. He was pretty confused, and he stepped in and looked at them and asked, "What are you weaving?" They said, "Oh, we're weaving a beautiful outfit. It's going to have gold and silver and jewels all over it. The king will love it very much." But of course, they were lying. The minister was very confused again, but finally realized he must not be worthy. He must not be able to see the fabric. But he couldn't let this happen. So he waved it off and thought, "Oh, I must trick the weavers." And so he said, "It's beautiful. The colors are vibrant. I can't wait to see how you're going to incorporate the gold and the silver." And so he went back to the king and reported to him everything that he saw. The king was delighted and was very, very excited to see the new clothing. And about a week later, the king decided, "I must see the clothing. This must be my time to see it." So he walked into the room where the weavers were working and looked around again, like the minister had, very confused. He only saw their looms and the weavers. He stepped in a little bit more and asked the weavers what they were working on, not seeing anything. They said, "Oh, look at all this fabric and thread that we have on our loom. It's quite vibrant. Don't you love it?" The king was worried. "I must not be able to see the thread. This is impossible. I am so incredible. I am not foolish. Oh no, I can't let anybody know this. It must be a fluke. Maybe when they're done, I'll be able to see it." So he congratulated them on their work and went back to his palace. Then, finally, the weavers, or thieves, had finished their work. They stepped into the palace where the king was and held up their outfit. They described the long scarf, the coat, the tail on the coat, his beautiful pants, and his pointy shoes. It all sounded lovely, but no one could see a thing. The king tried it on behind a mirror. It was very light, and again, he couldn't see anything, but he assumed that his ministers and advisors must be able to see it, so he just went along. He walked out into the room, and everyone saw the king naked, but they couldn't let them know that they couldn't see the outfit, because they thought he could see the outfit. So they all congratulated him, they clapped and cheered and said, "Oh, you look so lovely. We shall have a parade to commemorate this special day and show off our incredible king." So they set up a parade for that very day to go throughout the city and show everyone in the entire village the king's outfit. So they all lifted him up on a chair and carried him out into the village. And people came out of their houses delighted and excited to see the king's new outfit that everyone had been anticipating for weeks. They stepped out and looked at the king and all of his advisors, but they saw that he was wearing nothing. They all realized in a collective moment, "I must be foolish. I cannot see the king." And so they decided to play it off. not wanting to seem foolish or not worthy of their job. They didn't want any of their employers or neighbors to think that they weren't as important. So they all clapped and cheered along with the ministers and advisors, congratulating the king, throwing flowers and roses down. And the king was very proud of himself in that moment, until a little boy cried out, "The emperor is naked!" His mother shushed him and said, "No, he's not. Stop talking." But the father said, "No, he's right. The emperor is naked." And the boy cried out again, "The emperor has no clothes." This rumor started reaching everyone, and they realized no one can see the emperor's clothes because they're not there. And they all jeered at the king, "You have no clothes! The emperor is naked!" And he cried and ran off back to the palace, and his advisors were carrying his tailcoat that wasn't even there. Thank you.